Hello folks, welcome to our latest EV conversion project called the Triton Missile. Let's go for the miracle, you see the miracle head gasket fixer? We see it? It's some kind of miracle head gasket fixer crap anyway, so probably won't work, but who cares? You see the miracle cure now? Miracle cure, okay. Well, miracle cure is one of these things on it. Well, let's get rid of that. Wow, that looks gross. Then again, nothing could be much more gross than what's already in here, so. Miracle Cure number 2. So I'll probably do that, but having said that, this thing tends to blow exhaust gases out through the So, as you can see, the missile, as I have dubbed it, is a Mitsubishi L200 double cab pickup truck, 4-wheel drive, 2003 model, featuring a rather clapped out, I believe, 4D56 4-cylinder diesel engine. So what we're going to do is we are going to be converting this vehicle to electric drive. And so before we can do any of that sort of thing, firstly we need to deal with the slight problem of it being absolutely caked up with muck. So I'm going to go ahead and give that thing a bit of a clean down for you. So now that we got rid of the mud and got rid of the muck, and there was rather a lot of it, next thing we will show you some of the components that we're going to use for this conversion. Okay, so here we have what's going to be our power plant for the Triton missile. Figured I'd better show this to you folks at this point, otherwise the internet will feature endless speculation as to what I'm doing, mostly probably centered around the Model 3 drive unit, but that is a good bit away. And just to remind folks on that, the ones that I'm working on are not mine. They're here with me for the purposes of reverse engineering. So anyway, what we have here is basically a full, I guess what they call a full stack from a third generation Nissan Leaf. So the new one, I guess, I actually thought it was a Gen 4, but it turns out it's a Gen 3, they actually call it. So starting at the bottom, we have the EM57 motor. So that's this part here. This guy, I actually think it's the same motor between the Gen 2 and the Gen 3. I'm not 100% certain. Next up, then in the middle, we have a Gen 3 inverter, which is the 110 kilowatt version. So basically our inverter and motor give us 110 kilowatts of power. And up here then, this bit, big thanks to Dallas EV Repair for donating this entire PDM, or power distribution module, to me here. So this guy features a 6.6 kVA charger, I think, which can put out 6 kilowatts on the DC side, and a DC to DC converter for running our 12 volt systems. So big thanks to Dala for that. I've not had one of these to work with as yet. So I will be doing some reverse engineering on this guy fairly soon. In order to basically get this to work, to get the charger to start up, the DC-DC to come on and things like that. I believe controlling the motor and the 110 kilowatt inverter should be fairly straightforward. The only difference is being at the 110 kilowatt will have a slightly different torque command message, because it can go to 110 as opposed to 80 kilowatts. So just turning around here, unfortunately they had chopped off these cables, but that's not a big deal. So for coupling our motor to the gearbox, we will be using the Fiat Multipla clutch disc. Now it's the same one that I used in the Grey Goose. Working well so far. Will report if it explodes. So this one, I think it's from a 1.6 petrol Fiat Multipla van. It's not a perfect fit, I get that, but does seem to be working for me, as I said, in the Grey Goose. So obviously in most vehicles, in most, I guess, cars and stuff like that, fitting this whole assembly is problematic just because of the height of it. You'd end up having to cut a hole in the bonnet in order to fit this thing. But in the missile, we're quite lucky because it's basically a truck, so it's got much more space underneath the bonnet. So what I did is I just put a measuring tape down to the crank bolt and just measured up to the bonnet Then did the same thing from the center of the motor shaft up here, and we got plenty of space. Now there won't be, a ton of free space in there, but there'll be enough to do the job for us. And this guy here, as I say, obviously gives us charger, well, AC charger, DC-DC converter, inverter, motor, and the whole lot in one neat package. So watch out for more on that when we get to the can hacking stage. Now the rest of the bits that we're going to use in the conversion are fairly ubiquitous at this stage. We have our Opel Zafira electric power steering pump. We'll do our hydraulic power steering with our Volkswagen vacuum pump for doing our vacuum booster for the brakes. And I have a choice with the heating. I do have one of these Chevy Volt Opel Ampera heaters. I've one of these in the Grey Goose, and it's really good. You don't even need to put it up like 50% power with that. Is more than enough to get things warmed up. Or what I might do on this occasion, just to switch things up a bit, I recently picked up one of this guy. Let me, if I can get you folks in there to see it. This is a Volkswagen heater. I believe it is Lin controlled, 5 or 6 kilowatts, I think. So we might decide to have a look at this guy for doing our cabin heating. So there we got power steering, we got brakes, we got cabin heat. So for charging, obviously we have our 6 kilowatt AC charger in the Leaf PDM. We'll be using this charging port, which is a CCS 2 charging port. I think it came from some Kia vehicle. It's single phase on the AC, but that's okay for us with this application because we've got a single phase charger. And for fast charging, we'll obviously go with CCS and our BMW i3 Lim to control that. Obviously this is the one, sorry, it's a bit hacked up. I've been using this for my SPI logging for figuring out what do they call it, GreenFi is talking about. So we use this on our charging port here to give us a combination of AC and DC fast charging. We'll be tying the whole thing together with our Zombieverter VCU. So that's kind of just a rough look here at where things are for the, I guess, for the EV conversion components that we're going to be using with our Triton Missile project. So there you have it, folks, the Triton Missile. Now you might reasonably say, why are you calling it the Triton Missile when in this part of the world that particular vehicle is known by the rather bland name of the Mitsubishi L200? Well, turns out in other parts of the world it's called the Mitsubishi Triton, and I like that name better. And as you know, with me, I do have to come up with weird names for the vehicle, hence the Triton Missile. So I think that the components that we have, the component choices that we're going to use here, should make it quite an interesting project. So before folks get too excited, just want to let you know that while I will be doing some prep work and component testing and, reverse engineering the Gentry Leaf stack that we showed you there, the actual meat and potatoes of the conversion will not be happening for I'm going to say probably something in the region of 6 to 9 months. And you'll see in coming videos why that is. I won't spoil the surprise for you. So it's really, I suppose, this is an introductory, preparatory phase just to get all of you folks massively interested in what's going on here. And there is a very good reason that I've picked this type of a vehicle for our next conversion project. And again, hopefully that'll become clear fairly soon. So, folks, want to thank you all for sticking with me over the years, as always. It is much appreciated, and it's kind of thing, you go through phases making these videos. Sometimes you think, what's the point? But other days you see, well, that is the point, and I want to try and help as many folks as I can to see that this stuff is, it's kind of fun and it's not particularly hard to get into, especially these days when we've got stuff like that Nissan Leaf powertrain. Alrighty, so let's see if we can do a little bit of a walk around here. Of course, as soon as I go to film something, the wind's picked up, so if it turns into a fest, I will just do a bit of a voiceover or something. Alright, so just chuck the battery charger on there because running that clapped out diesel is not exactly something I want to be doing when I don't need to. But the pressure wash did a really nice job. I know it's only a cold water pressure cleaner, but still got rid of, I'd say, 60-70% of the nasties in there. So it just makes it a little bit easier to see what's going on in here. Got pretty much as much cleaned up as I can. The engine, as we know, is just clapped out, but there's some bits on there I'll be able to sell when I eventually do pull it out. So this is not the biggest engine bay in the world, but it'll do absolutely perfectly for what we're planning to put in there. It's basically perfect. So the vehicle itself, I think is for the age of it, it's a 2003. There's over 200,000 miles on the clock, I think. So it's in really good nick for that. We have mechanical odometer, have we? I think so, yeah. What do we got on there? 219, so yeah, basically 220 on there. And for a vehicle with that mileage, the interior is in really good condition. I've just given it a first vacuuming and a bit of just hit it with a bit of conditioner and cleaner just to get the first layers of grime out of here. I know they kind of ham it up in the car videos and say, oh, the smell is terrible, I can't sit in the car, but I can tell you in this one, it was, yeah, it basically smelled like an enclosed farm yard with no ventilation in it. So as I said, I've got most of that out of here now, but at some later stage I'll pull out the seats and the carpets and give it a really good thorough cleaning. But as I say, for a vehicle with that kind of mileage, interior wise is in pretty good nick. The ones I've seen are much worse than this. Back seats even and all that are in pretty good order. No nasties in the headliner or anything. It's got all its own teeth basically. This is the worst part around the back. Looks as if someone couldn't quite line up their trailer hitch first time around, or even maybe 50th time around by the looks of that. So I'll be keeping my eyes peeled for a either a tailgate or maybe a complete tub, but probably just a tailgate will be sufficient. Tires on the back are pretty good. There's a good bit of tread on them. They're in good condition. The tires on the back are pretty good. Ones on the front are going to need to be replaced before we do any real driving. They're pretty much down to the wear markers, so they're scrap. But back ones are good, so I'll look out for some second-hand tires maybe. Otherwise, cab is in good condition. A couple of things that popped up after the clean were little bits of thing like that we want to catch before they do anything more serious. Also up here we got a bit of a rust hole here, we want to catch that. It's the same on the far side, so I'm guessing it must be some kind of a stock fault with these vehicles. Now these are body on frame built, so usually the thing that kills them off is when the frame starts to corrode. But this one, yeah, it's got that same rust spot here. But this one, I'm quite lucky in that the frame is in really good condition. It's basically clean. I'll try and get in there for you and see if I can show you. It's of course a typically Irish dull overcast day. But I'll see if I can get the phone in underneath, let you have a look around now that we've managed to blast off most of that dirt. And this is probably going to end up in a vertical video, but apologies for that. We can see there the frame, even around the mounts, seems to be in really good condition. Once I got rid of the muck, you know, we were able to get a good proper look in there. Let me see if I can get you in underneath even. Probably be able to see a bit better under there without but I'll get it up on a lift at some point and show you what's going on in there properly. But yeah, there's one of the body mounts there, so that's in good condition. Likewise this one, spring mount here, good condition as well. So if you can forgive me for the vertical video, I think we're pretty good underneath. Let's go down the back. So there's a rear spring mount there. There's our tow bar attaches. So I don't see anything nasty there. Not that I kind of know much about these type of vehicles. This is my first such vehicle, but you gotta love that solid axle and the leaf springs. We see that in there. There's the other spring mount. Let me see if I can get you in there a bit better. There's the other spring mount, part of the frame there, bottom of the tub. We get in over the spare maybe. I'll let you see a bit going on in there. Might try and get that spare out at some point, because like I said, I do want to get a couple tires for it. Can't really show you much under the front. It's got this kind of a crazy skid pad kind of thing going on here, but that's what we got so far. All kinds of cool truck-like stuff going on in there. So that's it really. There's not a whole lot else to show you until we actually get more in depth into it, but just for a first look around, like I said, with the exception of the tow bar bumper car thing here, I think we got a reasonably good example for myself. So I'll leave it there for you today. We'll come back on this with updates fairly soon, I'd say. So that's it. As always, check those links in the description for things like Patreon and PayPal in case you wish to financially support me. But as I say, it's not a good idea to do that, because then I just do more of this stuff. Who wants that? So also there'll be links in there to Dala's EV repair channel. We can thank Dala very much for that PDM that we have on our Leaf system there now, because that gives us a complete system to work with. One request that just popped back into my head there that I might ask folks is, one thing I'm struggling with is a low voltage signal harness for that Leaf stack. So if you happen to have complete harness, or even some of the plugs that go in there, particularly the ones that go on to the PDM, it's a circular connector, and the inverter, it's a Yazaki plug, can't be gotten anywhere, it's just pain. So if you do have that, it'd be brilliant if you could contact me, and I'll see if I can steal it from you. So what else we got for you? Well, that's it. Hope you enjoy this particular series. As I say, it is going to stretch out a bit. Nothing I can do about that. But do stick with us, because we got more stuff on the way. And as always, don't forget to dislike, do not share, unsubscribe from this stupid channel. And for Pete's sake, don't visit the links in the description. Until then, happy Gen 3 PDM hacking.